Oh, let's make this happen. Tonight, moon landing. So, making this happen tonight. What we need to do. We've got our satellite orbit around the moon. Looking fantastic. Nice and clean. Good coverage. Pretty much all over the moon. That part's good to go. We have... I named that a Lunar Explorer. We're going to have to rename that. I've been very tired last night. It's a Mooner Explorer. We're not going to Luna. Luna is some kind of strange universe these Kerbals have never seen. So let's just rename it. Lunar. Yep. So we've got our moon-ready stack. Ready to rock and roll. But we need fuel. We need some extra fuel just to play it safe. And we can use now this stage for lunar transfer. So that's going to be one of the main missions here, getting that going. And I've never tested the lander, so we need to send some kind of test flight to the lander ahead of this. That's what I'm going to focus on first and get that going and on its way to the moon. So, we need the, should be the Lunar Explorer. Pop all that off. And we're going to have to save that as a sub-assembly. let's simulate now the weight, which is 3.6 tons, so it is a little bit heavy. That's okay. Okay, so it looks a little goofy, for sure. And this is going to be a little bit on the heavy side for one of our launchers. Let's see, so we need G2 lunar transfer. Fairing. What I'm going to do is I know this can get a 5-ton payload to orbit. This launcher to put a this is gonna look goofy as all heck. We know we use this to put a station piece in orbit. Weighed about 5 tons. This is now 5.8 tons. Much. Should still be fun. We have a dedicated lunar transfer stage. So this mess craft we're just going to launch right now and get it to the moon ASAP. Do our first moon landing. Minus the Carmen. Oh, there's some wobbling. Strut, heaviest part. Got all that jazz. Those separate. This separates for that engine. This separates. And for this engine, below the fairing. Below the fairing down here. And that goes, bingo, tanks go. Alright. Here goes the test. all this very quick. And this is quickly to moon orbit as possible. It is still at this point reading a 2.56 or sorry, a 2-minute 56-second burn, which it is not going to be the case since we hit space. It'll show much less. Yep, 57 seconds. Essentially, there the calculator's trying to figure out how much we're going to lose. Go to the atmosphere. Now I can put this a little quicker of a burn. That's down to 55 seconds or 57. Balance this out as we always do. So about 27 seconds, 8 seconds maybe. Stage out, which is unfortunate. Messing with this just a little bit. Don't need a particularly long It's like the minimum we're going to be able to do for fuel. And these 2 extra Oscar B tanks, see that we threw on. Throw those in. So, as much as it does concern me a little bit that we're essentially going to be short fueling this for the landing and having it be underweight, lack of fuel should actually make it harder to land regardless compared to the real lander, and I don't really intend to take back off with it, so it doesn't totally concern me. 2 of these baguette tanks. just one more time, sanity check, make sure the stream's actually up. After 2 nights ago and not having anything come up, that was kind of disturbing. Seems to say we're live. Center line just so we don't have uneven fuel distribution. Line ourselves up to target. Transfer the rest of that center line tank during the burn. We should actually do just fine getting this all the way to transfer. Minor thing I forgot there. Comes around the KSP. There we go. Now we can extend our antennas. What we're supposed to do. A little bit of range. We did disable all those ground stations, so we're getting used to. Still a 57-second burn, so So, no problems there. No harm, no foul. Put ourselves back on the target here. In the meantime, just to be sane, I'm just going to make sure there's no other maneuvers coming up. Still has got a while before its encounter. 6 days. Just gonna fly and give it a maneuver so I can keep track of it. Oh, I've got no probe control. That's not good. Is it no battery? It's got battery. Okay. So that's going to be interesting. Apparently that is outside of range. And this probe might be okay. Since it's a while out anyway, let's time warp in and control this. Whatever this guy is. I'm flying. Yep, okay. So another big time warp. This time staying in communication. So again, 57-second burn. So I want to burn 5 plus 4, about 29 seconds. 29 seconds before the node itself. That'll balance us out. As soon as we start, I'm going to start transferring fuel from this Oscar B into the tank as well. Just to make sure we make this all in one stage. Correction burn. Well, this might actually already suit us. Yeah, we already have an encounter. No, we don't. Shit. Okay. It lied to me. It lied to me. Alright, let's put just a little bit. There it is. Energy comes down quite a bit. I don't want that. It's going to take a lot of fuel to do that adjustment. What if I, yeah, that'd be much better. 46 minutes. Let's get ready for that burn. How do we deorbit this, this extra bit of junk? Very small burn to have to do to make that happen, so I'm totally willing to do that one. Depart Kerbin. On our way to a moon test flight. Moon test landing. In the back half of this parabola, this extremely elliptical weather zone. Back half of that should be much slower, so during that time I'm going to launch our refuelers. I'm going to try to do this burn just 1 second from node. Bit of correction. Good enough, probably. Yep, return parallax is now below the atmosphere, or in the atmosphere. So volume's on the very low side. Okay. Let's crank it. Hopefully that does the trick. One moment while I switch back. Let me know if that does the trick for volume. If not, it might be the mic positioning. Okay, perfectly prograde. Transfer this fuel back before I forget. Okay, fantastic. This thing's empty. We'll start it off. That will go back to Kerbin after it orbits around, and it will burn up in Kerbin's atmosphere. No space debris. Now, trying to get the fuel back in here. This actually has less fuel than here, so I'm just gonna have to leave it. And how far until... Ooh. Need a little bit of a prograde burn, it looks like. Where's my moon encounter? There we go. Just do that quick correction as well. Our deorbit burn for the boosters just put us back out of our position, so we'll fix that real quick. All this time during lunar injection's a really nice, efficient place to do it. Tends to not use a lot of... Oh, just a little bit more. There it is. Alright. Now that's on its way to a moon encounter. Half fueled, so if it can land on the moon, I think we'll be satisfied saying that it's capable. Because it still has to now deorbit burn as well, which we won't have to worry about that as or into orbit burn, I should say. So if this little guy can make it, then the fully fueled version definitely can. So back to Space Center. Let's launch our refuelers for the real deal. And that was just totally thrown together, so if that doesn't totally work, I'm not going to be too surprised. It would just be good peace of mind for me to know the lander can actually slow itself down sufficiently. So we're going to do fuel resupply craft, which I made after the stream last night. A couple fuel tanks, docking port on the front, drone control and engines at the back. And to handle the almost 5 tons of weight on this payload and still get it into orbit, we're going to use the Lunar transfer launcher. Of the standard launcher. I'm going to make a small change this end. I did just find out on that last launch this didn't go all that smooth as far as antenna relays. So what we want to do, we need for one of these. Slight angle. So once the fairing's ditched, I can just go ahead and deploy this. So we'll miss everything there. And then I don't have to wait the stage to activate it. So I know I'll be able to get connection. Alright. First refuel craft. Ready to roll out to the launch pad. Do our brave Kerman in orbit. So let's see. Bam, bam. All this looks good. It separates. It separates. Boom. Fairing. Boom. Engines. Okay, this all looks fine. Now we want to find our target. The Lunar Explorer. We want our launch centers. So they are actually a bit in front of us, which is bad. So let's time warp a little bit. We want to watch the Lunar Explorer come around. When it gets to right about here-ish, we're going to go ahead and launch. Well, now that's rotating. Of course, the planet's rotating with us. So we just need to watch. Now it's the center one here. Let's say right about there. Let's do our launch. So back in and off. Fuel resupply craft for our lunar expedition. I noticed that's pretty normal on a craft like this with a heavier payload. That tends to stop once you get onto this next stage. Made this way too aggressive an angle here. So we're just going to slightly fill up so we can get ourselves aimed properly. Start working on our horizontal velocity. Ditch our fairing as soon as we're out of the atmosphere. Actually, now fine. Our antenna deployment. I already switched this over to target, which is a good sign. We want to maintain orbit. Yeah, we're actually coming fairly close if we raise aperture just a little more. I'd actually be willing to do that here. We're going to pretty much be near an intersect here. Okay. Target position, so we do need to catch up to the target a little more. So we can aim down a little bit. Like this. Oh, we're out of fuel on this stage. Okay. That's fine. Aim ourselves a little more appropriately. now getting our positive. Too far there. So basically, we're going to come around for an orbit. We'll have to make a tiny adjustment here. And basically, as soon as we got into orbit, more or less, we're already going to have an encounter at 2.9 kilometers. So we actually nailed the window pretty good, at least. We're screwing ourselves a little bit with that maneuver, but we can mess with that in other ways. Back to 3.6, 4.6, 4.1. Just a little more prograde. We need to make sure this para-app stays above atmosphere limits. So let's do this. Make this 2 maneuvers, just to make it easier. Okay, reduce game volume. I don't know what messed up all my audio then. But, yeah, okay. We made that change. And then, as I said, we're going to just do a small burn then. First, apogee. To raise para-apsis to a safe level. Now, it is going to throw off our intersect, it looks like, by quite a bit to do that. So I want to do as little as possible. Of course, also for reasons of fuel conservation. I want to do that. That should do just fine. And then, opposite of that node, actually conveniently on the descending node, no less, which is at a 0.6 inclination change. Let's just correct that inclination to 0. And then at this stage of the orbit, be able to sync us up a little better. .9. Very minor adjustments. As little as possible. .4. Where's the separation at this point? This is still in timing. So those nodes should be what we need to adjust. I don't know why that's now giving me a hard time then. 5.4. Nope, too much. Way too much. 2.7. 0.3, that's more like it. Alright, so now we got 2 nodes using a very small amount of fuel that should get us right where we need to be. We did use more fuel than I anticipated. However, What I was shooting for was to have these orange tanks, these 3 orange tanks, all have full fuel. And it looks like that might very well be what happens. If I disable these tanks... And yeah, I know, this maneuver's coming up pretty quick. Yeah, even in disabling those tanks, it looks like I still have enough fuel to make this maneuver. And then probably the next one, hopefully. I'll see when it comes up, when we're done doing this burn. But I should actually be able to get all 3 orange tanks full of fuel off to the off to the Lunar excursion there. Excuse, the screen's gonna bump for a second. Giant flying fuel tank. It is. For something I designed in a matter of seconds, and then threw on top of a rocket that didn't belong on, really not so bad. Pretty solid burn right there. Still have the fuel we need to complete our next burn with just this one tank, so yep. We'll actually have a little bit of a surplus of fuel compared to how I expected for this design. Not too bad at all. Now, the only tricky thing with this is there's no monoprop on this, so I will need the excursion to actually do the docking, assuming that I don't experience some kinds of crazy level skills to make that happen. Our maneuver's not too bad. I think I might just not even play with it. It went from 0.3 to 0.4. So we were pretty close to spot on in our last maneuver. That's a good sign. For sure. It is going to lower our para-apps again, though, and that's what's concerning. So I will have to reconsider this node, unfortunately. So once more on descending node. Make the descending node burn first. It's going to throw us off a little ways. And then at perigee, just so I know we're staying above the atmosphere here. Now we want to do our timing correction. And we're getting much better results. .3, okay. 0.4, okay. We got our 0.4 back. And we accomplished this a little more safely, which makes me real happy. And our test lander is still on its way. Still be a while before its moon encounter. So we look good there. We time warp the 8 minutes to our next maneuver. So far, everything on schedule. There'll be a 12-second burn coming up. These engines are not very powerful at all. So, 12-second burn is actually not that much of a change in our orbit. So I'm very happy. That launch window worked out just amazing. We should have no problems actually accomplishing this rendezvous with all the intended fuel reaching the craft, rather than being spent on maneuvers. precision. A little bit of correction here. Just a little bit more. Great. Okay. Now our expected encounter actually improves somewhat. That's good. Accidentally improved our burn. Now our next burn, we still have enough fuel even with the locked tanks up here. So we are looking fantastic. After that, the only burn we'll have to do will be a match speed burn with the actual excursion, the lunar excursion. And then we'll worry about docking. So 4 minutes to this burn now. It'll be a 10-second burn, so we'll want to wait till 5 seconds before the node. Thankfully, our little space station side mission that we did let me know that the moon launch vehicle for the 3-ton launcher can actually handle a 5-ton payload into low Kerbin orbit. So a good alternate use for that rocket for sure. Definitely fit the profile we needed. Wait until 5 seconds before burn. Minor correction. Again, we want to make sure this part's dead on. Perfect. Now our true intercept is at 0.4, goes back to 0.4. But that's just fine. We can make that work for us. The nice thing is it doesn't seem like it slips away all that fast, so we should have a fairly easy time maneuvering to target. Add maneuver, and then warp in front of the maneuver, so we know at what point we'll be closest to our target. Although we should have visual range without any issue, aside from the fact that it'll be on the dark side of the planet once more. So we'll be at our closest. Oh, there it is right there. So we need to cancel the target. We will burn just a little bit of our fuel, it looks like, in natural speed. A little bit more. Cool. Now how far away are we from the darn thing at the moment? 700 meters? Not too bad. We didn't lose our window all that much. Let's now head towards it. good. Looking good. Get ourselves to 10 meters a second to target. Flip us around. Should give us a nice window for us to flip around and then brake at 10 meters a second. Too much oomph on the spin. Okay. Almost there. We didn't do all that bad in terms of fuel consumption. Okay. Bestie! Hello, hello. We are our first moon mission. If I can figure out which way this thing's oriented. Just getting ourselves some refueling done before we set off on our journey. There we go. So I'm just going to aim a little bit in front of target. Thusly. Goofing that up a little bit. I could always try hard mode docking and dock with just the actual boosters here, or the actual thrusters, instead of the RCS, because there is none on this thing. But we'll just switch over to the command module there and let it do all the docking for us. Although I think I probably could manage, to be quite honest. As long as I was careful, I think I could manage to dock this with just the ant thrusters. In fact, I'm actually kind of tempted right now. The thing is how slow this thing turns. Makes this a little bit of a challenge. I started turning it the wrong way. Okay. Started accelerating its turn instead of decelerating it. So I missed my window there. Yeah, this thing just turns way too slow. I don't have enough reaction wheel force to have a real go of this. Hello? We are awful close. Didn't mean to even do that. It's just hard to control. I'm not really sure which way is up on a giant fuel tank. I thought it was one of the big orange tanks the whole time. Nope. Just a 5-ton launcher here. That way I knew I had a reliable launcher for it. Our 3-ton launcher for moon payloads is actually very effective for 5-ton orbital payloads. Wow, this could actually do this here. Seems totally silly, but, you know, could actually do this here. Did I just pull off hard mode docking? I sure did. Oh, no, magnets did a thing. Oh, bad magnets. Oh god, what the hell? Straighten out, straighten out, straighten out, straighten out, straighten out. Okay. What in the hell kind of shit was that? The game couldn't handle what I was just trying to do. It said, no way are you going to hard mode dock this with no RCS. Just denied me the pleasure. That really did look like it was about to be perfect. I'm fairly disappointed, but that's okay. We just need to switch over here, set that guy as our target. Docking mode. RCS on. I don't know why the thrusters are just randomly firing, but I guess SAS was doing it. Oh yeah, SAS was doing it. I don't get why these are firing as much as they're firing. It's driving me nuts. Okay. Ourselves aligned like that. Linear RCS. What the heck? Are you serious right now? Why? Why even? Okay. No, No, don't control from there. Why is this now not responding? Oh, because I'm in. Doy. Okay, need you to start heading back towards target. I don't understand what is going on with this thing, and it's making me really angry really fast. This game does hate me right now. Alright. Back towards target. 2 meters a second. I admire the amount of care you take when you're docking. Yeah, I wish the game would admire it at the moment. It just seems to want to mess with me. Okay. And then the physics stopped working. Yes, there is a Kraken out and around this mission at the moment. I don't know what that's all about. Okay. More this way. Is there any way to control the amount of... I was trying to see if there's like an amount of magnet force being applied. Docking mode. Whoop. Yes, I can understand the impatience with docking. I've been there, bestie. And this is definitely not helping me right now for for my level of impatience. This little experience is infuriating right now, to say the least. The immediate problem is these RCS are not lined up to be doing this, because I didn't intend to have this stage at the bottom when I was doing any docking maneuvers. So it's not really near the center of gravity like it should be. If this dock doesn't work, I don't know what's gonna. I mean, I built BroLab. You'd think this would be a walk in the park, right? And I'm burning through our very critical monopropellant. Like, we've almost burned through half of it already. Thank you. Goodness. Okay. All right. If we got to do that again, we're screwed. So I gotta send up some kind of monoprop next time. All right. Start topping off tanks. And I expected this to probably take 2 of these to get me where I wanted to really be here. So next one I might be able to just go a little lighter on the fuel and give it some monoprop maybe. Both make it do the docking and then also oh, I forgot one little thing. I'm gonna have to leave just a little bit of fuel in there to deorbit it. I want to take that tank with us. Let's see, what's perigee? 93. Let's do one of these tanks worth. So let's do this. Let's put this fuel in here anyway. We'll take one of these tanks. Measly 24 units of fuel. To keep the craft from being imbalanced, we will refill that baguette tank from here. I like the engines you have there, those Making History ones. They are. Those engines are the Apollo lunar module, the AJ-10? Is that right? I'll double check that in a second. Yes, so the AJ-10, or in this case they call it the RG-J10. But a real engine. Alright, so that got us mostly refueled. We'll need to send up another one of these tanks, which is... ooh, it's gonna drive me crazy. This time put a little bit of monoprop on it, I guess. Alright. Should be plenty of fuel to deorbit. Yep. Excessive fuel to deorbit, actually. Note to self, I can deorbit with much less. Will they fit? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna answer that one. I don't have what's being now described as a leaf blower going in the background. Oh my goodness. There we are. Woo. Yes, so that was a very excessive amount of fuel for deorbit. Anyway, the question was, how do those engines, the AJ-10s, compare to the swivel and the small Poodle engine? Well, they're actually much more efficient and higher thrust, so they're very good balance. We'll see that when I go into the Space Center here in a second. So I'm going to let that sucker deorbit. I don't care enough to watch it explode. I'm mad at it. We'll have to do a follow-up now to put the rest of the fuel on. We'll try and do a similar launch window. But when I go and do this, I'm going to just quickly grab the engine so you can see how this AJ-10 compares to the others. So going into the engines, so like the Poodle is a good example, is a vacuum engine ISP, so your efficiency rating of 350 and a thrust of 250. So that one already is a pretty good engine. But the AJ-10 increases that thrust to 375 and the vacuum efficiency to 412. So it's a higher thrust, it's more efficient, and if you tone down this shroud thing at the top, you can actually use it on the 1.5 diameter. I don't know what to actually call it, but what am I looking for? The TD18 size instead of the TD25, which is pretty cool. Now I need to modify this thing and launch another one. This time we want this to have its own RCS control. They are. Yeah, they are definitely really good. I want those as close to the center of mass as possible. So I'm going to pop this off for a second. Center of mass. And when we get there, we should be fairly low on this tank. So I'm going to plan for that. So I want them right about there. Now, we're going to want two of these in a braking configuration. But I'm going to leave the forward movement to the ants, because the ants, I think, should do just fine. I don't think I need RCS. They're light enough thrust. I think they'll be what I need. Now, I do need, first of all, to refill this before I forget that. The other thing with this, 360 fuel. How much does this weigh? 4.5 tons. Put 3 of these on, which would be 3 point, yeah, so. Yeah, those seem to scale up, like, exact, so, okay. No real sense in using the different size. I was gonna see if it was smarter just to put one tank here, but it really doesn't matter. It's just cheaper, and I like the look of this enough that I don't care about the couple dollars. Now, take those off. Those like that. So we have some monoprop. Take our antenna. Yep, that should do for an antenna. Okay, a decent amount of monoprop to help us out with that. Then what I'm going to do... .303, 24, 225. That's even less fuel. That's too elaborate. Let's just put one of these maybe on it. Actually brought our weight down a little bit still. How much are those monoprop? 0.04 tons. Okay. Keep the center of mass from shifting too much. Okay. So more fuel resupply. Mo better. Some new struts. And then let's do a auto strut to heaviest part. And go. And we will roll another one of these out to the launch pad. Just wondering why the linear RCS thrusters as opposed to the other ones. They ended up being a little lighter. Wasn't too worried about getting those exact, so I went with the lighter ones. Not that it would make much of a difference at that extremely small scale, but it just makes me feel better. Now, target once more. Okay, it's actually kind of coming up. So, just like last time, I want it to get to right about here. Right in that zone, and then that's when I'll take off. So let's... Oh, and our fuel tank is coming awkwardly close. Okay, no. From up here, it looked like it was going to hit our desert airfield. Just bombing our secondary sites, apparently. And how's my... Okay, good. My test lander is still on its way. So when this gets... Now, right about here as the planet spins. Planet is spinning a little bit. So right about there. That's where I want to launch. All right. Off we go. Second fuel resupply mission. About to ditch the solids. 10,000 feet. Or meters, rather. Start our wobbly turn. That stage. We can start shallowing out. Really start shallowing out, actually. Again, we're doing pretty much the same thing where we're nearly having an encounter at launch. Which is good. This time we'll be a little bit ahead of it, it looks like. Launched a little early. And figure out what it takes to get us to orbit. Not worry about the maneuver nodes just yet. Just orbit. Perigee. Don't want to go crazy with it. Right there, and look at that. We got a pretty close intersect coming up. If we do that burn. 2.4. Okay. This might be actually pretty decent. Let's stage off the fairing. I don't need that. Let's deploy the antenna. We can stay in radio contact. And once we get into space, I was going to say it should show us that it would be a smaller burn, but it does not seem to be the case. Saying that it's a 2-minute, 24-second burn. So we need to start this in very, very shortly. It's 1 minute, 12 seconds, basically. Wow, that's a very long burn. I assume that's because it's going into the top stage, which does take a very long time to do anything. So 1 minute, 12 seconds. Here we go. No, this burn time's broken. Shit. Burn time's all kinds of cooked. Okay, let's see here. It is going to take us a long time to do this. Where's our perigee now? Negative perigee. Okay, so yeah, just let's go ahead. Oh, now it seems to be working. least keeping apogee in front of us. That's a good sign. Yes, it is very, very loud. I'm going to remedy that for you guys. Just hold on. I don't know why this one engine is just horribly loud. I'm gonna drop it again. Hold on. Yeah, it is strange. I don't know why these ones. Even I'm screaming right now because it's just like, even on my headphones, I'm going deaf. I don't know why these are just bad engines for noise. Here's our orbit. Small correction burn. Oh man, I apologize guys because there's going to be this noise all over again. Okay, well I'm leaving it. Oh, actually that one went okay. So now, that did not go as planned as far as our burns go, so that left us way off actually. That's a shame. So are we going to be behind the target? Yes, we're going to be behind the target. So at that point, we want to speed up. Right? Maybe? Nope, we screw that up if we do that. Okay. Well, what we'll do at perigee. No. There we go. At perigee, we bring our apogee down. It's not going to work. How do we want to do this? First off, descending node says 0.9 degrees. Let's try and correct that as well. Let's see what that does when we do that. Okay. That it does lower our perigee slightly, but still puts us pretty much where we want to be. Then at this point, what I want to do, yes, raise perigee and get us on an intersect course. Good. 1.8 is pretty good. Let's see, how doable is this burn there? Is that using this one at all? I didn't use that one at all, did I? No, I didn't. So 1.8. 122 meters a second of delta V. Another 0.4 intersect. It's pretty decent. 0 on the ascending nodes. Orbits are in safe heights. What does our separation look like? Not too shabby. 7 minutes to try and perfect this. There we go. That looks pretty good. So we're gonna have an exactly 1 minute burn in order to pull that off. Let's warp right in front of that maneuver. Oh, shit. Too close. We'll start our burn. Oh, shit. I put these on... Oh, God. I thought I had these on 4-way, and they're actually only 2. That's not good. I see a lot of unnecessary rolling in my future. Still a little bit of correction. Okay, what's our actual... Wow, that looks nothing like what we were promised, huh? Alright. It's interesting. I mean, sure, it's... like we're getting closer and all. This one's going much less efficient than the last one. It's 6. 42-second burn. So we're almost at time where we need to start this. So let's just do this right on point. These engines are rugged. They're also kind of hitting these struts. I don't know if that's going to cause a problem. Okay, that burn was much more in control. Nodes at 0.6. Okay. All right. Now we're talking. Our test lander still is not in contact with, not in, what do you call it? Capture with the moon. That's still going to be a while. Well, let's just do a time warp. And, actually, let's do a proper time warp. Let's time warp to here. Get it nice and close to that maneuver. Oh, it does actually. Ooh, that's a problem. We're actually getting ever so slightly in the atmosphere. That's bad. That's bad, guys. We don't want that to happen. Just see how much drag is really going to happen here. It's actually lining us up. Because we're slowing down a little bit. And we're on the inside track, so we're actually going faster. So this is kind of good, I guess. I don't know. Oh, we're back to 0.6. So I might need to just give us a little bit of an acceleration burn, maybe. We are going rapidly back up. Well, that's a little disheartening, huh? Didn't pay attention to that. It's like, oof. That's something a professional space program should know how to check for, huh? But we got the back in space music. Not so bad. This lander will start being into moon influence pretty soon, it looks like. I'm now worried that I didn't put 4 of these RCS thrusters on. I'm kind of mad at myself for that one. I was not paying close enough attention. So we're going to add just a blank maneuver just so we know where we're at our closest with this thing. We're going to set ourselves up to be retrograde to target. So we can kill our relative momentum. Coming up. Keep in mind how much time it's probably going to take to do this. I'm going to give myself 20 seconds before the node. And at this point, it's all guesswork, but thinking that should do fine. Because unlike normally, we don't want to balance this node. We want it to end at the node. Using a little bit of our payload fuel. Perfect. Okay. All right. Head directly for our target. Approach 3 meters a second. Close does this maneuver get us? 0.1. Okay, good. All right. Almost done with the refueling mission. But this time... Yep. Okay. Test lander still is not in lunar influence yet. About 30 seconds away. I really wish I'd been paying attention with those RCS thrusters. And as long as I'm smart about this, it won't be a problem. Okay. Looking good. Looking good. Looking good. Alright, now we'll start to decelerate. Okay. Totally canceled our movement to target. We want to set that dock there as our target. And what I'm going to do, point us relatively at the center of mass if I can. Figure out which way is up on this darn thing. This is a challenge with this because it's completely a tube, just a blank tube. It's hard to tell which way is up. And I could have been smart and referenced the antenna, but it's kind of hard to see. So antenna should be where the window would be on a command module, so that would be kind of up. Anyway, now we're going to switch to this guy. And we're going to set this as our target. Without using our precious RCS, we're going to aim ourselves directly at it. And then we should have two crafts aimed directly at each other. Come on. Reaction wheels are not as effective as I tend to hope they are. Okay. Good. Good, good. Now a little bit again. Correct the dock here. Okay, two craft that appear to be pointed directly at each other. So just a little bit of speed. And then we're going to go to docking mode. Whichever way I'm drifting, I'm going to have to rotate the craft, activate RCS, and then counter. So what I have to do now, because I only have those two, is on this nav ball down at the bottom, I have to line up the horizon marker so that it is through the prograde marker, since that is the angle that I am going to be moving relative to the target. So I keep rotating, and then I can properly counteract. Very tiny, tiny burns. Okay, now, back to here. Just a little bit more. There we go. I gotta keep in mind, I've got braking thrusters. I do not have forward thrusters for RCS. Just another complication, right? Now once more. Put ourselves, so we're rotated through. go. Okay. So this is looking solid. Okay. A little rotation. Okay. Just a tiny bit of thrust. Damn. Okay. Harder than I expected. I don't know why it's doing all these little correction burns here. I might just make the module here do the rest of the work. If I knew which way was which. Okay. Okay, that should do all the alignment work. So it's twisting it a little bit. I don't know what that's all about. Why is it? Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Need to look at the center of gravity, maybe. Oh, come on. It's just hard to control in general anyway. Why is this so fidgety? This has got to be painful to watch for literally everyone. Okay. This would have been a lot easier if I'd remembered all 4 of those RCSs. There you go. There we go. There we go. Alright. About darn time. Start transferring fuel. How much do we got left in this one? Not a lot. Alright. Well, let's do this. Let's transfer the RCS fuel. I'm willing to bet I can probably deorbit it on RCS fuel. Oops. I did put more, I think, than I really needed for RCS. Yes, this is going good. Yep. I love that I unevenly drain these. Okay, those ones are even. Oh, actually I didn't do so bad. Wow, actually managed to evenly drain them. So let's see. Bingo, bingo, bingo. Good, good. Nice. Okay, so now this one's fully fueled RCS. Okay. We can store a little more RCS in the lander, even though it doesn't need it per se, because it has no monoprop of its own. At least we can give some back when we're done. Which actually that doesn't make sense, because we won't actually have a mission situation where that will come in handy. Except, wait a minute. Back in. Now I'm thinking Nedbo on the ground refueling. So we'll give it some of our RCS. We should still then have enough. How much did the launch system cost to get that fuel there? I think about 25K, I think, for each one. Not terrible. And certainly not the way I would have done that if I'd planned this out better. But that's not usually a thing I do. So, we're going to now go to deorbit this sucker. I think I'm happy with this. I'm not gonna send up I'm not gonna send up a follow-up. Whoop! Ah! No, RCS off. Okay. Didn't want to do that. That's our deorbit fuel. So we're on orbital. We're gonna just use the last of our standard liquid fuel real quick. Huh. That was actually enough. I could have put all the monoprop over there. Oh well. Just to make sure that this deorbits aggressively. Still had the RCS on board. Alright, there we go. That sucker is totally dead. And on its way back to Kerbin. It's, well, yeah, very aggressive. Do you have parachutes this thing, or are you just trying to eliminate space debris? I'm just trying to eliminate space debris. I guess I probably could have put parachutes on it and attempted to recover these vehicles, but they just weren't very expensive. So I wasn't overly concerned with it. Let's actually just check. How much was it to launch the entire vehicle? Launcher and all. Let's see. My beard wants to do its own thing today. Oh, I way overguessed that. It cost us a little less than 20,000 credits for the entire launch system. Payload and all. So that's not so bad. I am going to save this, though, with the updated, in case we need something like this later. You never know when we'll need something like this. Take this off because it's just a launcher. There you go. Yeah, the craft itself was 7,000 of that. I guess I probably would have been smart to attempt to recover that, huh? I don't know though. Just weigh empty. Just see how much it weighs empty, and then that'll help me decide if this is gonna be something I try to do. Okay. Empty, it weighs 1.135 tons. Oh, I did update the RCS before I did that. I went back and watched a little bit of BroLab on YouTube the other day, and wow, the frame chug was real. Oh man, was it. I was still gaming and broadcasting on an i3, a Gen 4 i3. It's been a very long time since I had such poor equipment as that. But yeah, I probably could have totally done a parachute recovery and saved the other 5,000 credits here. But for 5,000 credits, you know, at that point, GT710 from Best Buy, yes. The worst graphics card ever made. Worse than the onboard graphics, I found out later. Could have just been using the onboard graphics and it would have been better than the graphics card. It's pretty bad. Don't know how I configured that thing to actually stream. That was pretty messed up. An accomplishment for careful planning. So now, the two things I need to do. I need to check on our lander that is doing a test landing. It is also going to help us designate a landing site for the main mission. Isn't that fancy? Wow. It is still an hour. An hour and a half. From perigee. Very high perigee. Let's see. Let's just see if I can line up the Lunar Explorer's burn first. Okay. Now, these guys have a ton of fuel, so they got no excuse. We need to go out to Mun. So let's see. We want to be... What about here when we do the burn? When we want to fuel the burn? Ask your rocket, does it even lift? There we go. We got a maneuver coming up in just around a minute. It is going to totally use up all the fuel in our little lander thing. Our little translunar stage. That's the word I'm looking for. So I don't know how that's going to work. We need more fuel. Hilariously. It didn't stop me, probably should have. Yeah. Having the beat up computers, the old computers, doesn't really help with that kind of thing. Wow, I'm missing my window. I'm missing my burn window here. Gotta switch over to this ASAP. Alright, we're going to be making corrections on this sucker, it looks like. Trying to decide if we can make it there on our current stage or not, which it finally figured out it can't. So what we'll do, even though I hate to do this, fuel transfer while we do this. We're just gonna need everyone to conserve fuel like champions. Alright. Kill the node. I want to bring the space debris back down to Kerbin successfully. which will screw up our maneuver. I was getting really lucky with these other ones. Change our radial, maybe? What does that do to... Nope, we want radial the other direction. Nope, that also doesn't work. Well, I don't know how we got lucky that one time of having an encounter perfectly spit out a piece of space debris back to where I wanted it to go. Yeah, see, I just can't manipulate that the way I want to. So I'll just have to hope that separating this sucker will do the trick. So I'll put the fuel back in to the command module. I'm just gonna stop worrying so much about space debris this time. As much as we've been very good about it. So we're gonna aim prograde. Check our staging before I do it. Yeah, like I've got it, so I stage off first and then turn around and grab this. So let's do that. Let's do that maneuver. Let's do this Apollo style. That's terrifying. Nothing happened. Ooh. Ooh. Well, it doesn't look like anything's damaged, but... the hell? Well, at least that's not going to be space debris. Okay, right side up. Okay, RCS on. Docking mode. Just as planned. Exactly. Now that all that weight behind this is gone, this is much easier to control, thankfully. This makes me think of docking and the old Brolab launcher. The unnecessary way we used to do that. Okay, there we go. RCS back off. We are docked. Do you use the docking mode or just the IHJK keys? I actually use docking mode. I prefer it. I know most people don't, actually. But yeah, I use docking mode. I do sometimes use the H key for other situations, but when I am docking, I do switch. Okay, now we can take care of that separator. Staging mode. Staging mode. Alright. This thing is now totally dead to us. We are on our way. Yeah, I hear a lot of people prefer to use those dedicated keys instead of using docking mode. Like a good majority of people. I'm just the oddball, I guess. This whole time I forgot that I had coffee here, by the way, which is now got to be really cold. Very, very cold. Very cold coffee indeed. Alright, so this is cool. This is now on the way, doing its thing. I am happy. Yeah, I'm still used to docking mode. I never really fell out of that. Any plans for Thanksgiving? Not really. I will probably have plans made for me, because I fail to adult on most occasions. Alright, now. Our probe. How's our probe doing? Switch 2. Yeah, units 2 already made them. See, I figured my plans would be made for me. Alright, now. This guy. Can I warp to the encounter? First off. Now, what this guy is, this is a test lander, because I've never tested the lander that is currently on transit to the moon. I've never tested it at all, in any way, shape, or form. So that's probably ill-advised. It's probably the way I'm going to phrase that. Wow, the Lunar Explorer is actually covering distance pretty fast. Ah, okay. Explains the yellowtail. My cheap wine choices. So how long is it till we've got this encounter? 3 hours. Alright. So yeah, we're safe to switch back. But as I was saying, I've never actually attempted to land the lander. So what I did is I made a version of it that doesn't have a pod, and instead is all radio controlled and has a Science Junior. So if I can do what I intend to do, I'm going to land this somewhere and then try to land the actual lander near it so we can collect the science from the Science Junior. And since Nedbo's a scientist, you'll be able to reset it, no less. So we can have some fun there. There could be some good science. So we're coming up. Para-apps in 13 minutes. So right there, we're going to slow ourselves down. Whoa, and do all kinds of craziness, apparently. That's not what we want to do. If you could kindly delete that. There we go. Add maneuver. Okay. So we'd be on a slingshot, and then we would need to slow down a second time. There we go. Doesn't look so bad. This lander's going to be very short-fueled by the time it comes for us to actually do this maneuver. That's the only thing that worries me. Can we get away with not doing this maneuver now? Yep. As long as we do it at exactly para-apps, we're good. So 7-second burn. Everything's still going according to plan tonight. So far, so good. This is confusing to me. I'm waiting for this to, like, drop out of radio contact or something. Now, the scary part of this is I'm sending Nedbo down in the lander by himself. And Nedbo is not a pilot, he's a scientist. So he's got a probe core on there. And I should be able to remote pilot assist from the command module. So hopefully one of those two things will save the day for us. Oh man. This is gonna be interesting. Like I said, I am somewhat concerned that this thing's going to run out of fuel. Now, it doesn't need to take back off like the actual lander will. So the fuel situation's not as critical with this, I don't think. Ooh, pardon me. We'll do it. Here we go. More or less it. Gotta be picky about this one. Here we go. Moon orbit. Okay. Let's just start doing. We're pretty much at apogee. Let's just start doing. Lowering our orbit. Using a ton of fuel here. Trying to get a nice low orbit. Go. That maneuver's in 5 hours. We said the Lunar Explorer's got 3 hours before its deal. So let's see. Oh, I forgot about poor Munsat 1. This whole time it might have been able to collect a bunch of science. It's just not important to us right now, I guess. Poor Munsat 1. Poor loyal Munsat 1. So we want this. Okay. Looks like we have enough Delta V to do this landing. Okay, so it looks like we can do a landing with this lander. Having already spent a ton of fuel getting here. Very nice satellite orbits. Thank you. I had a lot of fun setting those up. Very nice and OCD. Now, let's see. Lunar Explorer. Switch to. Things are starting to look good. Solar power here, so we're still good there. A little less than full monopropellant, but that's fine. Thank God I remembered the thermostat and barometer. I was checking earlier and I wasn't sure if I had. Wasn't going to call myself out on it yet till I saw for sure, though. I like that my launcher, pretty much, this was like Gemini meets Apollo meets mini Apollo lander meets Russian R7 rocket. That's a weird collaboration of things here. So this one's 3 hours away. Perhaps it's 4 hours away. So this one I'll have to do the burn before the lander, the test lander, will get to its para-apps. 425 tons.